It is just different states of expression, and we're all, like I said earlier, we're role-playing for one another. And so from the fourth dimensional perspective, there is kind of like a similar sort of viewpoint, but the intention and the implementation of it, the actual living of it, is different. And that is, you know, we go through what I term as the chakra body, and we go through healing modalities and meditation groups, and you know, we get ourselves down these paths, and some people don't. They don't need to go through that. I certainly needed it and went through that whole paradigm, what I call the 4D paradigm. And then once I started merging with this greater aspect of self, you get to realize that the higher self body has a single energetic center, and the concepts change and the perspective changes, and it's not necessarily an abrasive sort of perspective to have towards oneself. It's important that we integrate and we accept and acknowledge all these aspects of self. Otherwise, we can't integrate that, and so it's important not to judge within our own selves too, how we still fluctuate in and out of these different levels of our being, because we're still engaged in all these different levels of life.
Exactly. This integration of those other dimensions and developing awarenesses of them. Up until fairly recently, we were not even aware that there were additional dimensions other than the three we are aware of. They were conceptual sort of awarenesses. But as that concept stretches and grows, we develop those awarenesses, right?
And they become literally attainable, and we start living them and being them and expressing them.
Right.
Okay, thank you. There's like a real strong understanding of what you're saying. Because one of the things that I've stated before is that I haven't had the vivid experiences that you've had, George. Gary's had a couple of vivid experiences. And actually, it turns out I've had a couple of vivid experiences.
Yeah.
But they're lesser, and I kind of get envious. It's like, darn, I really want somebody to come down and stand in front of me and say, this is how it is. And I get a little envious about that, but I'm starting to understand, and that's what this conversation is about, because I guess part of what I came in with is I've had hundreds of teachers in my life, you know, starting it when I was a teenager, going back 40-some years ago. And at this point, to me, it's very clear that what you were saying, and this is part of the main crux of this conversation that I'm trying to articulate and have help in articulating, is that concept of one isn't better than the other. It just is, and it's part of the evolution, it's part of the path. And the way that it's been described in human words over thousands of years has a judgment aspect to it, where good and evil are judgmental words. So therefore, I strive to relate it to the concept of there is higher vibrating energy and lower vibrating energy, but one is not better than the other. However, the higher vibrating energy is stronger and more pervasive, is that the right word, than the darker energy.
And harmonious.
And harmonious, yeah, that's a key. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that just is, because I have experienced it, I've witnessed it, I live it, but I don't judge the lower vibrating energies. And I choose to not be in those lower vibrating energies to the best of my ability, in the ability that I have to choose where I am and create my reality in each moment. And that has been what this whole incarnation has been about for me. Does that make sense?
And you see, Yeah, and you see, Kimberly, you may not need much of that lower vibratory energetic or energies to rebalance your soul, whereas others do. And that's the key to understanding this, is if we no longer judge that battle between good and evil,
Right.
and we view it from that perspective as it is a journey and an exploration for individuals to undertake into these energetic patterns, to explore life, to experience all facets of life. And therefore now, as we approach the ending of this immense journey through epochs and eras, down through dimensions of every facets and levels of life in this universe, in this last lifetime, what each individual requires, what set of experiences and what set of energetic patterns and energetic charges people need to experience, required experience in order to rebalance their soul so they can find center again, is different for each person.
Absolutely.
Right. It's always very personal and very symbolic to that individual.
Yeah.
And however these symbols present themselves within the individual observer's modalities is what, and how they present themselves significantly through emotion. That is where the power comes from, and the way we view these significant things that happen to us symbolically. And the significance of them. Kimberly related an experience that she had not too long ago, seeing the symbology within the pictures in the sky, right? And that was significant. And these things that present themselves to us, in whatever way they filter through our own filtration systems. From what I've learned, it's always very personal and very symbolic.
Yeah, totally agree. And pictures in clouds, it's a storybook. I mean, the universe is talking to us all the time, and for an individual to receive symbolism in the sky is a wonderful way to be communicating with the universe. It gets your attention, and it gets you to question. You go, wow, how come I'm seeing this? And you know, sometimes we can share it with friends, and sometimes it's just for us. Only we see the message, and you know, it doesn't mean it's not real. Of course it's real. And we're not imagining things. It's the way life speaks to us.
That's the thing, right
so
there.
Many different facets, so many different avenues, you know. But you know, we have a cultural mindset here that anything outside the paradigm of the matrix is imagination and is delusions and it's foolhardy and is all these things, and is not allowed to be real. See, it's the authoritarian perspective. It's not allowed to be real,
and therefore, you know, the dreamer in today's society and the things that come to us through these symbols are usually just poo-pooed away and judged invalid, insignificant, right?
Yeah. ridiculed, and condemned.
Right.
It's like let me give you an example here, okay? I have a message from Father, Son, and Mother Earth, which I'd like to share. We can do that further in the conversation.
Please.
But people will say, okay, and I'm just using this as an example, but people within their own egos and their own insecurities will say, well, who appointed you? Okay? What gives you the right? And that will be their response. It will. There's no doubt. There'll be people who will listen to this and will think, what an ego he has. Look at him, who appointed him. And the reality is it's their own ego and their own insecurities that are mirroring this experience of what I'm saying back to them. Okay?
Right.
Okay, I have a wonderful relationship with Father, Son, and Mother Earth, and I have a great deal of responsibility that comes with that relationship. And it's not about ego. So how people choose to perceive what I'm doing here, what I'm sharing, what I'm expressing, will come down to where they are at internally. Because the reason I'm sharing this is because this is how I have judged people in the past. You know, I'm not saying this because I have a superiority complex and I'm so much better than everybody else. I'm saying this because I'm here. I've lived on planet Earth just with everybody else, and I have done this myself. I have judged people immensely. And
so have I, and
so have I.
Gary. Yeah. We all have.
Yeah.
And we recognize that, and it's like, wow, it's so cool that we recognize that, and we've moved beyond that.
And getting back real quickly to the duality piece of the right or wrong, the light or dark, all these dualistic things.